Welcome to another car review for your growing family. Please hit subscribe on the bottom right to catch our new reviews every single week. But here is the drastically refreshed 2020 Genesis G90. So many double takes from people this week driving this thing. They're like, oh my goodness, what's that? It looks awesome. And I feel like the only reason why you're not seeing more of them is because of the badge on the front and the back. But it does work great for families. And I want to show you how with the 2020 Genesis G90 this week on Family Wheels. So the G90 gets almost an entirely new look on the exterior for 2020, and it's the latest generation of the Genesis Athletic Elegance design language. I think it looks a little bit more elegance than athletic, but that doesn't really matter. That's up for you to decide. But Genesis says they've changed every panel except the roof and the doors, and I think it looks absolutely fantastic. It sets it aside from the G70, the G80. The G90 before looked a little bit similar to those, but now it certainly sets itself apart as the flagship of the Genesis sedans. It's got the new G-Matrix wheel designs. There's less changes to the interior, but there is a new 12.3-inch infotainment display, which now has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which it didn't have before. And there's a handful of new driver assistance features as well. The two different engines remain the same though. You've got the 3.3-litre V6 twin turbo putting out 365 horsepower, or you've got what's in this. This is the 5-litre V8 with 420 horsepower or 383 pound-feet of torque. Now, in the States, you get the choice of the both. You also, in the States, get the choice of two-wheel drive or the H-Track all-wheel drive. In Canada, though, apparently you can get the V6 on special order if you want. But what I like is you only get one engine, one trim choice. The only thing you really have to choose is the interior color. This is the Havana, and the exterior color. The rest of that, what you see is what you get. They give you everything. But in the States, you get the choice of engine and also the choice of all-wheel drive or two-wheel drive, which I kind of like the simplicity of, here's the car, we've given it everything, what color do you want, see you later. Because you look at its competitors that this is going up against, this is a big, plush, smooth, luxurious sedan, and things like the BMW 7 Series, which is this is up against, you know, you've got so many different choices of packages, blah, 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 and it can really add up. Whereas this one price, one engine, what color do you want? And even though that 3.3-litre V6 is more than enough, it's a bit better on fuel as well. If you do want the V8, my kids love some acceleration. Here's how they liked it with the kids' pep test.
3, 2, 1, blast off! Wow!
But no matter what engine you choose, you've got the 8-speed automatic transmission, you've got paddle shift as well, and you've got some drive modes, which we'll get to. And if you look at who Genesis is going up against with this, you're going up against the BMW 7 Series, the Mercedes S-Class, even the Audi A8 if you want. They all have the V6 and a V8 choice in engine. In Canada though, even the 7 Series, you only just get the one choice of engine, the V8. But where it differs is price. So this car in Canada, just the one price, $89,750. In the US, it starts with the V6 and the rear-wheel drive, $72,200 up to $78,200 with the V8 and the all-wheel drive. Compare that to the S-Class in the Mercedes, starts at $109,000 in Canada. The 7 Series starts at $120,000 in Canada. In fact, I did a bit of a comparison of the average difference in price point for entry level. So this against the S-Class, 7 Series, Audi A8, this in Canada is $20,000 less on average compared to those three if you're looking at the entry price. In the States, that's around $13,000. Now, if you just include 7 Series and S-Class, in Canada, this is $25,000 less on average. In the States, that ends up being about $18,000 less. You're getting a lot of bang for your buck. And I still think, as I said, the only reason why you're not seeing more of these on the road is because of brand clout and image. That's really about it, because you have enormous levels of luxury in this car, which I'm going to get to in a little bit. But let's quickly check fuel economy, because maybe you're still interested in that. If you're going to be buying the Genesis, maybe you're a little bit more budget conscious, so fuel economy is still a thing. This is 11.9 litres per 100 kilometres. So for a 5-litre V8, that's actually not disastrous. It's not amazing, but it's not completely terrible by any means. And miles per gallon, it's 15 on highway, 23 in the city for all-wheel drive. So just before I get to the high level of luxury in this car and also the amazing tech involved as well, let's find out how this car works for families, because if this is in your budget, this is a wonderful car for families. The space is absolutely exceptional, as is the storage. Let's start with the trunk. So the trunk it's actually not the best in its class, to be quite honest with you. You get 15.7 cubic feet of trunk space, or around 444 litres. Now it does pass our test of the stroller, grocery, camera bag, soccer ball, no problems. It's not the highest in its class, so the 7 Series leads that. So that's got 18.2 cubic feet. The S class is even a bit bigger. The Audi A8 is a little bit smaller. Even when we drove the Genesis G90, that compared to others was a little bit small as well. So this is smaller to some of its competitors, but it's still pretty good. Unfortunately, which is actually quite common on this category as well, you don't have the fold flat rear seats. You do have a hole through the center console there if you want to get in and out, but you can't actually fold those seats forward. Maybe that matters to you, maybe it doesn't. Let's go to the back seat here. Oodles and oodles of leg space for the kids. It's actually really easy to get them in and out. The doors, the back doors are absolutely enormous, and the door arches are kept very wide and very high as well. So getting kids in and out, even though this is the Collect Flow, the very, very chunky kids seat, it's really easy to get kids in and out. They can have access to it. They can stand in the footwell, get themselves in if they can. When you've got it rear facing, the front passenger can actually stretch their legs out completely straight and almost lie down. It's really cool. The anchor points for the kids seats were actually not the best. You had to dig for them a little bit, and if you want a bit more space, here's a little luxurious bit. You can adjust the front seat from the back if they wanted to, so you can put the backrest forward or back, or you can slide the seat forward and back from very conveniently from touching it there. So that part of it, it functions for families in a beautiful way. One thing with that size and space though, it does make it hard to reach the kids in the back. So if you've got a baby or a younger kid strapped into a harness, reaching back to give them some water or a snack or something like that, it's a bit of a reach if it's only the one person, the one driver in the front. So usually when I get to talking in the interior of what level of luxury and what level of stuff you get, I'll talk about, you know, heated seats or heated steering wheel. Obviously you're getting all that. What is above that? What are you getting in the G90, which is above the normal level of luxury that you are getting? Not only, let's talk about leather everywhere. This beautiful quilted nappa in the diamond stitching is wonderful, and that's pretty much everywhere. Heated front and back, vented front and back. Memory settings for the seats, driver, passenger, rear passengers as well. The rear passengers also have access to these beautiful sunshades, which you can adjust and put up and down from the front and either side. Each side controls both sides as well. So if you've got kids or babies, they need to sleep, it's pretty sunny, they can put those sunshades up. You've also got the sunshade on the back window, which you can do from here, or you can do from the center console. So the center console from back there, not only can they adjust and have control of the infotainment system and all your radio and your audio and everything, which is wonderful. If the kids, you don't have to be changing it. If they're a bit older and they want to plug their own accessories in and control the music from the back, they totally can. All of the climate control is available to them. It's really set up for if you want to chauffeur someone. I mean, to be honest, when your kids get a bit older, you're chauffeuring them around everywhere, soccer, dance stuff, parties or whatever. So throw them in the back, let them be in their own world, and they're in the next level of luxury without having to pay the luxurious price of some of its biggest competitors. They also, if they want to, when they start taking selfies and posting to the snaps and everything, or to the TikToks, you've got your vanity mirrors in the back as well. So they can really do themselves up and take that selfie 25,000 times before they post it. And then don't forget to like it so that they're really embarrassed. Okay, what about up front here before we take this little puppy for a drive? So the new 12.3-inch infotainment screen, very high resolution. It's controllable here with the wheel, which is similar to things like your Mazda, similar to BMW. It doesn't have gesture control, which BMW has, which would be nice. However, it's wonderful. I love the home screen, how it splits between your navigation and your radio and your climate control. You know, sometimes when you have a smaller screen, you're always like, what should I have on there full time? Do I want one of those three? This one splits it between the three, and it doesn't look like it's too small. You can use the touch screen. It's very responsive, it's very clear, it's very crisp. It sits back a little bit so that it doesn't get much glare. It always looks nice. So you now have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, which everything at this level really should, and for free. BMW, it really should be for free. Look at how nicely your Google Maps displays on that 12.3-inch screen. You're also getting the 900-watt 17-speaker Lexicon sound system, which is an outstanding system. I think it's even got speakers in the seats back there. And I'm not usually a fan of wood grain, but this real wood grain it's really, really nice. One thing that it doesn't have, so it doesn't have the automatic parking assist, so it won't parallel for you, I don't think, not what I could find. So that might be one thing that it's missing that it could really have. Next level stuff as well, the key fob So the proximity on it is very, very accurate, very quick. So as soon as you come in that short range to the car, everything will pop out. Your mirrors, your exterior lights come on. It's even got the automatic lift gate on the back, so you don't need to swing your leg or anything. All you need to do is stand next to the trunk, and after a couple of seconds, it will know that you're still there and it will pop the trunk open. All right, if you're expecting this car to handle and drive just like the Genesis G90, obviously it's not. It's a bigger, much more luxurious sedan, but that's not to say it doesn't have its capabilities as well, because it certainly has some punch. It's got plenty of power. It does handle pretty well. If you do put it through some tighter corners at some speed, it does have a little bit of body roll, but that might be expected for a car this big. You're not driving this to race it around the block like the G70. The highway is where this is a beautiful place to be though. It is quiet, it is smooth. The adaptive cruise and the lane keep work perfectly together. It can even take corners for you, but you got to keep your hands on the steering wheel, otherwise it will start sounding the bells at you. Reverse camera is terrific also. It's got a very crisp resolution to it. Even though it is a bigger car, it doesn't feel like as big a car as it is. When you jump in, it actually feels much more compact. You're not really aware of how big the tail is and everything. And then you've got enough warning systems to take care of you as well. So if you're worried about this feeling like far too big a sedan to get around in, I wouldn't. And other people, if they are going to be ending up spending 90 grand, which this could be in Canada, on an SUV or something, like, they're going to be big anyway. So why not spend the time getting something that is this well appointed? So your driving modes are selected down here. You don't have the sequential shift, you can't pop this across, but you do have the paddles, so you can get some manual shifting if you do want. But you can start with eco. Obviously you're going to get the best fuel economy out of the very reliable 420 horsepower V8. You can go to custom, which you can set the car up however you like. You can do it all through your infotainment system here. Comfort, which is obviously going to be the best of all worlds. That's what I've spent most of my time doing. And by the way, this week I have got, well, I've stepped my foot into it a fair bit. I've got 16.5 litres per 100 at the moment, which has all been city driving so far. So that's actually not horrible considering how much stick I've been given this car. But let's have a little go of your sport mode. The sport mode will change things up quite significant, actually, way more than the others. You notice it instantly. It will hold the revs a little bit more. Everything tightens up. The steering, not a whole lot, not as much as a BMW would, but you certainly notice and you get more feedback from the road. So I'm going to put it to manual here. Let's launch and see how it goes. Woohoo! You'd expect to get a bit of punch for 90 grand. And on top of all that, with those driver assistance packages, you're getting a top safety pick plus from the IIHS. So well taken care of in the safety department, top marks. At this point, you might be asking yourself, what doesn't this guy like about this car? And honestly, like, I'd just pick a different color interior. That's pretty much it. One thing is I wish that maybe the dash was a little bit better, a bit more digital. I wish that it had the auto park with your parallel and everything. Remote start would be a great feature. It doesn't have it. That's really about it. Everything else, I've loved this car. I don't have this much money to spend, but I wish I did. So that is the 2020 Genesis G90. Hopefully, if you do have this much money to spend, go and check out the G90 or go and have a look at what Genesis are doing, because I feel like the only reason why there aren't more of these is because of the badge and the front and the back. If you found this review useful, make sure you give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you can catch brand new reviews that we do every single week. Until next time, from Family Wheels, I'm Kai.